Welcome. Before you even check your phone, before the world starts demanding your attention, there is a moment that belongs to you, a moment that will decide the trajectory of your entire day. What if I told you that the first few minutes after you wake up could change everything? That the energy, the focus, and the mindset you choose right now could either elevate your life or let it slip away? Listen closely, because what you do before the world wakes up is what will determine whether you settle for ordinary, rise into extraordinary. There is a power in the morning that most people don't understand. It's not just the sunrise lighting up the sky or the quiet that greets you before the world wakes up. It's the opportunity. Every single morning comes to you, not as a burden, but as a gift, an invitation to start again, to reset, to redirect your life. And yet, how many of us actually greet the morning with intention? How many of us take a deep breath and tell ourselves, today is not going to be like yesterday. Today is going to be better. Today I'm going to step into the version of me I've been longing to see. That is the kind of energy you have to cultivate before you even step out of your house, before your phone pulls you into someone else's drama, before the world reminds you of everything that's broken. You have to meet the day before it meets you. I want you to understand this. Your mindset at the very start of the day can determine the trajectory of everything that follows. If you wake up defeated, if you wake up carrying yesterday's disappointments, if you wake up with fear sitting on your chest like a heavy stone, the rest of your day is going to be a reflection of that. The rest of your day is going to be a reflection of that. But if you wake up determined, if you wake up with hope, if you wake up expecting something good, your mind begins to line itself up with possibilities. This is not just pep talk. This is truth. Life does not always hand you the perfect moment, but it does give you the chance to create your moment. And it begins with how you choose to show up for yourself first thing in the morning. Think about the little choices you make as soon as your eyes open. Sin as your eyes open. Will you reach for your phone and scroll through notifications, allowing someone else's priorities to dictate your mood? Or will you take a moment, just a breath, and remind yourself of who you are, what you have overcome, and the vision you have been carrying quietly in your heart? There is something radical about reclaiming the first few minutes of your day. There is something powerful about saying no to chaos and yes to your own purpose. These minutes are like seeds. What you plant here, you will harvest later. Plant fear and fear grows. Plant gratitude and gratitude grows. Plant vision and your life begins to bend toward it. I know life has a way of stealing our mornings sometimes. Responsibilities called deadlines scream. Pressures press against us from every angle. And there is a temptation to just go through the motions, to wake up and operate on autopilot, to get through the day instead of living it. But I want to challenge you to stop for a moment and remember that the moments you don't pay attention to are the ones that slip through your fingers. You cannot afford to waste the first moments of your day because they are the most fertile. They are the ones that set the tone for your relationships, your work, your dreams, your emotions. You are not here to live small. You are not here to be quiet about your potential or to let life pass by unnoticed. And your day is the canvas. The first hour, the first thought, the first declaration you make, it colors everything else. If you enter the day with hesitation, if you enter the day with self-doubt, the world will sense it and you will live like it. But if you enter the day with purpose, if you enter the day with the declaration that today is yours, then even the obstacles have to bend to accommodate your energy. There is something about claiming your morning, even in silence, that changes the dynamic of your entire life. I want you to consider the fact that the enemy of your dreams often comes dressed as distraction. That it comes in the form of the endless scroll, the urgent emails, the demands of others. If you are not careful, these things will define your morning, and before you know it, your best energy has been drained and your focus has been hijacked. You have to decide what enters your mind before the day pulls you in. You have to protect the hours when your spirit is most malleable. You have to remind yourself that your thoughts shape your outcomes. What you think about first thing in the morning becomes the narrative you live in. This is why champions, leaders, and people who seem to have it all together, before the sun fully rises, they have already set their intentions. They have already spoken life over themselves, and they have already spoken life over themselves, and they have already prepared for victory. Let me be clear. This does not mean your mornings will always be perfect. It does not mean there won't be challenges, setbacks, or moments when you feel unprepared. But it does mean that how you choose to begin the day can determine how well you respond to the unexpected. You see, life will always test you. Life will always challenge you. Life will always throw something your way. But there is power in beginning with preparation, power in beginning with clarity, power in beginning with faith. Because when the storms come, and they will, you will not be swept away. You will not be shaken. You will have already anchored yourself in what is true, in what is possible, in what you are capable of achieving. You have to speak over yourself. You have to remind yourself that you are enough, that your work matters, that your presence makes a difference. Before the day begins, you have to tell your heart, I am capable, I am resilient, I am worthy, because no one else will do it for you, and the world will try to convince you otherwise. But your voice, your affirmation, your declaration, these are the shields that guard your peace. You cannot afford to let anyone else set your tone. You have to rise and speak life over yourself before the outside noise has a chance to take hold. I want you to think about the habits that make your morning powerful. It could be as simple as journaling a single thought of gratitude. It could be praying, meditating, or listening to a message that lifts your spirit. It could be moving your body to awaken the energy within you. Whatever it is, these are not small things. They are the foundation of everything you hope to achieve. They are the invisible steps that position you for breakthroughs, even when no one else sees the work you are doing internally. You cannot ignore this. You cannot dismiss it as unnecessary. The first hour of your day is sacred. Guard it, protect it, honor it. And there is a beauty in consistency. Your mornings will not always feel inspiring. Some days you will wake up tired, frustrated, or broken. Some days you will wonder why you even try. But that is exactly when your discipline matters most. That is exactly when you have to show up, even if your heart doesn't feel like it, because momentum is created in the moments when it's hard, when it doesn't feel like it, when no one else would bother. This is the practice of leaders, of people who manifest their dreams, of those who refuse to settle for less than they were created for. Every day you wake up, you are given a choice. You can choose to carry yesterday's regrets, or you can choose to move forward with courage. You can choose to let the world control your emotions, or you can choose to control them yourself. You can choose to start the day with fear, or you can choose to start the day with faith. And while the world may seem loud, chaotic, and demanding, your morning can be quiet, intentional, and full of power. That quiet before the chaos is where miracles are born. That quiet before the world intervenes is where you plant seeds for transformation, for clarity, for progress. Do not underestimate the small rituals of your morning. They are the scaffolding for your life. The thoughts you entertain, the words you speak, the mindset you cultivate, they are stronger than you think. If you take this seriously, if you guard these moments, if you refuse to compromise the first hour, the rest of your life begins to bend in ways you never imagined. You will notice doors opening, connections forming, ideas flowing. You will notice yourself becoming the person you've been trying to be, not someday, not later, but now. There is no power in wishing for success without preparing for it. There is no power in hoping for change without taking action to position yourself for it. And the first action of your day is not what you do at your desk or in your office. It is what you do with your mind, your spirit, and your heart the moment you wake. It is the statement you make about what you will accept and what you will refuse and how you will show up. This is the difference between ordinary days and extraordinary days. This is the difference between living in reaction and living with intention. So I want you to hear me clearly. The day ahead is not neutral. It is not passive. It will respond to the energy you bring into it. It will either elevate you or weigh you down depending on how you step into it. You are the one who decides. You are the one who sets the tone. You are the one who speaks life over yourself before the world tries to speak death into your dreams. And this is what separates those who accomplish what they never thought possible from those who merely survive. It is not enough to go through the motions. It is not enough to get by. You have to wake up with fire, with focus, with vision. You have to wake up determined to be better than you were yesterday. You have to wake up with a commitment to yourself that your time, your energy, your gifts, your life, it will not be wasted. You will not allow procrastination, fear, or distraction to steal from you what has been sown in your spirit. You will not allow someone else's negativity to dictate your narrative. You will rise even when it is inconvenient, even when it is difficult, even when it seems impossible. Because the morning you're mourning is not just a start, it is a declaration, a statement that you are ready for what is coming and you are ready to show the world who you are. And when you cultivate this practice, when you guard your mornings and speak life over yourself, you will start to notice subtle shifts. You will start to see doors opening that used to be closed. You will start to feel confidence in your steps. You will begin to operate from a place of strength, not desperation. You will learn that the first moments of your day are not ordinary, they are sacred. They are the hinge on which everything else swings. And once you understand this, once you embrace it, you will never see mornings the same way again. You will never see yourself the same way again. You will never go through life waiting for someone else to validate your worth because you have already declared it, already spoken it, already anchored yourself in it, already anchored yourself in it. There is something transformative about the very first moments of your day, moments that many of us overlook, dismiss, or take for granted. When your eyes open and the world has not yet demanded your attention, you are presented with a blank slate, a canvas untouched, a chance to decide how you will show up for yourself before anyone else. Most people wake up and immediately allow the noise of the world to dictate their mood, their energy, and ultimately their trajectory. They reach for their phones, they scroll, they compare, they consume, and in doing so, they hand over the power of their morning to someone else's priorities, someone else's narrative. But what if you pause for a moment? What if instead of reacting to the world, you chose to set the tone for your own life before anyone else could? That is the essence of owning your morning. It is not about a perfect routine. It is about a conscious decision to take command of your first moments because those moments will shape everything else. When you greet the day with intention, you are making a statement to yourself that you refuse to be a passenger in your own life. You are telling your mind, your spirit, and your heart that the first hour belongs to you. This is where discipline meets purpose. This is where champions are made, not by accident, but by choice. You cannot wait for motivation to arrive, for inspiration to fall from the sky, or for someone else to validate your worth. Motivation may flicker, but discipline and intentionality will anchor you. When you decide to show up for yourself first thing in the morning, you begin to reclaim control over your energy. You begin to dictate your focus. You begin to set the standard for how the rest of your day will unfold. The morning is sacred because it comes unclaimed. The responsibilities, the deadlines, the conflicts, they have not yet arrived. The first breath you take can be a moment of surrender, or it can be a declaration. You can choose to breathe in defeat, disappointment, and fear, or you can breathe in possibility, hope, and resolve. It is in this choice that the power resides. How you start your day is how you start your life, moment by moment. The energy you bring into the morning does not stay confined to those early hours. It radiates outward. It affects your decisions, your interactions, your productivity, your relationships, and even your emotional state. A morning anchored in clarity, purpose, and self-affirmation produces a ripple effect that carries through every part of your life. There is a difference between waking up and rising. To wake up is merely to open your eyes and acknowledge that you exist in the physical world. To rise is to awaken to your potential, to greet the day with awareness, and to step into your life with intentionality. Rising requires effort because it demands that you confront yourself, that you confront your distractions, that you confront the patterns that have kept you small. It is a choice to refuse complacency and mediocrity, to refuse the weight of yesterday's regrets, and to step fully into the possibilities of today. Every morning you rise with purpose. You reinforce the truth that your life is not left to chance, that you are not defined by circumstances, and that you are not defined by circumstances, and that you have the power to shape your own story. Intentional mornings are cultivated, not stumbled upon. You have to create practices that remind you of your worth, your goals, and your vision before you are consumed by the noise of the world. Some people start their mornings with quiet reflection, with prayer or meditation, setting a tone of peace and alignment. Others move their bodies to awaken energy, to remind themselves that they are alive and capable. Some write down affirmations, speaking life over themselves, declaring their goals and their intentions before anyone else has a say. These practices are not mere rituals, they are declarations. They're statements that say, I will not be a passive participant in my own life. I will not surrender the first moments to chaos, fear, or distraction. I choose purpose. When you own your morning, you also own your mindset. The thoughts that you entertain first thing in the morning have an extraordinary ability to shape your perception of the day. If you start with fear, negativity, or doubt, the day will reflect that back to you. If you start with hope, clarity, and determination, the day bends to meet that energy. Your mind is like a field, and the first seeds you plant determine what grows. Gratitude planted in the morning grows into resilience throughout the day. Vision planted in the morning grows into decisive action. Confidence planted in the morning grows into influence and impact. You cannot underestimate the power of what happens in the first hour of your day. What you allow into your mind before the world intervenes is often more important than what you do for the rest of the day. Owning your morning also means rejecting comparison and external validation. The world wants to define your worth based on performance on social media, on accomplishments that are often visible but not necessarily meaningful. The morning, however, belongs to you alone. It is a private space where you can reconnect with your intentions without interruption, without judgment, without pressure. When you start your day grounded in who you are and what you are here to do, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions, criticisms, or distractions that will inevitably come. Your morning becomes a sanctuary, a place to equip yourself with the mental, emotional, and spiritual tools needed to navigate life's challenges. It is also important to recognize that owning your morning does not mean ignoring life's responsibilities or avoiding challenges. It is not about isolation. It is about preparation. It is about preparation. You cannot control everything that happens during the day, but you can control how you start it. You can control your energy, your focus, and your attitude. You can set the tone for how you respond to stress, how you interact with people, and how you pursue your goals. The more intentional you are in the first moments, the more resilient and effective you become when you face the inevitable obstacles, setbacks, and pressures that life will throw your way. Many people underestimate the cumulative power of this practice. They think it's just a morning, or I'll start tomorrow, or I don't have time. But the truth is that life is a series of mornings strung together. The way you start each day compounds into weeks, months, and years. Your habits in the morning dictate your energy, your mindset, and your productivity. And over time, these small daily choices compound into significant results. Success is rarely an accident. It is often the result of consistently showing up day after day in alignment with purpose and intention. When you understand this, the morning is no longer just a time on the clock. It is a launch pad for your potential. There is also a spiritual dimension to owning your morning. When you pause, breathe, reflect, and center yourself, you acknowledge that there is more to life than the urgent, the superficial, and the chaotic. You connect with the deeper currents of your purpose, your gifts, and your vision. The morning becomes a space to affirm your values, to clarify your priorities, and to align your actions with your highest intentions. You begin to operate not out of reaction, but out of design. Your life starts to feel less like a series of emergencies and more like a journey guided by vision and intentionality. I want you to recognize that taking control of your morning is an act of empowerment. It is a declaration that you refuse to let external circumstances dictate your life. It is a decision to step into your authority over your mind, your time, and your energy. It is a recognition that the way you begin your day has a profound impact, not just on your productivity, but on your confidence, your influence, and the quality of your relationships. Each morning is a new opportunity to show up as the best version of yourself, to invest in your dreams, and to create the momentum that will carry you through the day with purpose and clarity. Even when life is chaotic, even when challenges loom, even when you feel weary, owning your morning give you a sense of control and stability. It reminds you that while you cannot always dictate circumstances, you can always dictate your response. The first moments of the day are yours to claim, and when you do, everything else shifts. Your focus sharpens, your energy stabilizes, and your decisions align with your intentions. And stabilizes, and your decisions align with your intentions. You are no longer drifting through the day at the mercy of events. You are steering it with deliberate power. There is an invisible battle that takes place every single morning, one that most people are not even aware of, and it happens in the space between your thoughts and your actions. Your mind is a battlefield, and the enemy of your dreams often does not arrive in obvious forms. It does not always come as a major crisis or a loud confrontation. More often than not, it arrives quietly, disguised as distraction, comparison, or even doubt. Social media scrolls, urgent emails, gossip complaints, or the noise of other people's expectations, they all come to steal your focus and to hijack your energy before you even realize it. These distractions are not neutral. They are insidious, and if left unchecked, they will dictate the rhythm of your day, your mood, and ultimately the trajectory of your life. Guarding your mind and spirit is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is a necessity. Think about it for a moment. When your mind is consumed by what someone else is doing, by what has gone wrong, or by fear of what might happen, you are not fully present in your own life. You are allowing your energy to be spent on things that will never yield fruit in your personal growth or in your dreams. The morning is sacred because it comes with clarity before the chaos. It is the time when you can decide what enters your mind and what does not. It is the time to speak over yourself, to remind yourself of your worth, your purpose, and your power. It is the time to center your sights on the life you want to create rather than the life the world tells you is acceptable. You have to recognize the danger of thought pollution. Every negative message, every unnecessary worry, every comparison to someone else's journey acts like a weight pressing down on your spirit. It is subtle, but over time, it compounds. It makes you question yourself, doubt your potential, and underestimate the power of your vision. The world is filled with voices that want to convince you that you are not enough, that you are too late, that your dreams are unrealistic. If you do not actively guard your mind and your spirit, you will unconsciously begin to internalize these messages. You will allow external chaos to define your internal reality. But when you are intentional about what you allow into your mind, you take back authority, you reclaim your peace, you align yourself with possibility, and you open the door to progress. Protecting your mind does not mean ignoring responsibility. It does not mean shutting yourself off from life. It means creating a buffer between your inner life and the world's constant noise. It means recognizing that your energy is finite and that the way you spend it matters. It means starting your day with clarity and intentionality before the outside world has a chance to shape your emotions or decisions. The mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are seeds. If you plant fear, worry, and distraction, you will harvest anxiety and frustration. You will harvest anxiety and frustration. If you plant focus, confidence, and vision, you will harvest clarity, action, and progress. You cannot afford to leave this to chance. The power of guarding your mind and spirit also lies in the practice of speaking life over yourself. Words are not just empty sounds. They are declarations of possibility and truth. The things you say to yourself first thing in the morning often echo throughout your day. If you greet yourself with criticism, negativity, or doubt, those words will shape your actions. If you greet yourself with encouragement, affirmation, and conviction, those words will empower you to navigate challenges with grace and strength. This is why champions and leaders prioritize their inner dialogue, why they guard the first moments of their day, and why they refuse to let outside influences determine their mindset. One of the most common ways people lose their focus is through comparison. The moment you start measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel, your mind becomes a breeding ground for self-doubt. Social media has a way of making everyone else's life look perfect while magnifying the imperfections in your own. If you are not careful, you will start the day with feelings of inadequacy, envy, or frustration. This is why it is so critical to guard your mind before you engage with the outside world. Before you allow yourself to scroll, check notifications, or listen to the complaints of others, remind yourself of your own worth and your own journey. Remind yourself that your path is unique, that your timing is perfect, and that the progress you are making, though unseen by others, is real and significant. Distraction also comes in subtler forms. It comes in the shape of worry about the future or regret over the past. You may wake up thinking about what went wrong yesterday or fearing what might go wrong today. These thoughts are exhausting, unproductive, and often unnecessary. Guarding your mind means choosing to anchor yourself in the present, to take responsibility for what you can control, and to release what you cannot. It means understanding that while circumstances may be unpredictable, your response is always within your control. This is where empowerment resides. This is where freedom begins. Your spirit is equally vulnerable to the attacks of distraction, the pressures of life, the demands of work, the expectations of family or society. All can weigh heavily on your soul if you allow them to. Protecting your spirit requires intentional practices that nourish and strengthen it. This could be prayer, meditation, reading uplifting words, journaling, or even taking a few moments of stillness to breathe and reconnect with your purpose. These practices are not indulgences, they are defenses. They prepare you to face the day with resilience, clarity, and courage. Without them, the world's noise can overwhelm you, leaving you drained, reactive, and uncertain. It is important to understand that guarding your mind and spirit is not a one-time act, it is a discipline. It requires daily commitment. Every morning presents a new opportunity to either reinforce focus and peace or allow distraction and negativity to take root. This is why intentional morning practices are so critical. They create a rhythm, a habit, and a foundation upon which your entire day is built. When you commit to protecting the first moments of your day, you are not only safeguarding your energy, you are creating a life where progress, clarity, and purpose become natural outcomes. There is also power in recognizing the sovereignty of your inner life. The world cannot dictate your worth, your vision, or your capacity to achieve. These belong to you, and only you can nurture and protect them. By choosing to guard your mind and spirit, you refuse to be a vessel for the world's chaos. You refuse to allow criticism, gossip, or negativity to shape who you are or what you do. You create a space in which you can hear your own voice, your own calling, and your own truth. This is not arrogance, it is awareness. It is a commitment to yourself and to the life you are meant to live. When you take this seriously, you begin to notice subtle shifts. You respond to challenges instead of reacting. You make decisions from a place of strength instead of fear. Your interactions become more intentional and less influenced by irritation, frustration, or comparison. You start to recognize that much of the stress and dissatisfaction in life comes from allowing outside influences to take over your mind and spirit. By reclaiming these, you reclaim your life. You begin to operate with clarity, focus, and purpose, and the results are visible in every area of your life. You have to understand that this is not easy. Distractions are persistent. Doubts creep in. Fear whispers that you are not enough or that your time is wasted. The world will try to pull you away from your vision in countless ways. But each time you choose to guard your mind and spirit, each time you choose to anchor yourself in your worth and purpose, you become stronger. You reinforce a mental and spiritual immunity that cannot be easily shaken. You are training yourself to operate from a place of clarity rather than confusion, from a place of intention rather than reaction, and from a place of power rather than passivity. At the end of the day, or at least by mid-morning, you will notice a difference in how your energy flows, how your focus sharpens, and how your day unfolds. These early choices compound. A single morning of intention might not seem like much, but consistently guarding your mind and spirit shapes habits, builds resilience, and transforms your life. It creates an internal architecture that supports your goals and protects your well-being. The more disciplined you become in this practice, the more empowered you feel, and the more unstoppable your life becomes. Your mind and spirit are precious. Your mind and spirit are precious. They are not to be surrendered casually to the noise of the world. They are to be nurtured, guarded, and cultivated by starting your day with intentionality, by speaking life over yourself, and by refusing to allow distractions to dictate your energy. You are taking control of your destiny in a very real and tangible way. Every thought you entertain, Every word you speak over yourself and every choice you make in those early moments sets the tone for everything that follows. This is why protecting your mind and spirit is not optional. It is essential. Consistency and intentionality are the hidden engines behind every life that achieves extraordinary results. Most people underestimate the quiet power of showing up day after day, believing that occasional bursts of effort are enough to create lasting change. They think that a single act of inspiration or a single motivated day will somehow carry them to the life they long for. But the truth is that true momentum is built in the small, seemingly ordinary choices that you make consistently over time. Each morning, you rise with purpose. Each moment you invest in your goals, each decision you make with clarity and discipline compounds into a life of significance. Success is rarely spectacular at first glance. It is often the accumulation of consistent, intentional action taken long before anyone else notices. Intentionality and consistency are intertwined. One without the other is incomplete. Intentionality without consistency becomes fleeting inspiration. You may have vision, you may have clarity, but without the discipline to show up repeatedly, your dreams remain dreams. Consistency without intentionality becomes busy work. You may be active, you may be moving, but without purpose guiding your actions, your efforts scatter and your results remain mediocre. The true power emerges when your actions are both deliberate and repeated, when every choice, no matter how small, is aligned with your goals and executed with dedication. You create an unstoppable moment. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not always feel exciting. It often comes in the form of doing the hard, uncomfortable, and unglamorous work when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, and when the results seem invisible. This is the work that separates those who merely dream from those who accomplish. This is the work that builds resilience, character, and the kind of quiet confidence that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. The world may celebrate overnight success, but the truth is that every achievement you admire from afar is built on countless mornings and countless small intentional choices made in private. Consistency also requires patience because results rarely appear immediately. It demands that you trust the process and believe in the power of cumulative effort. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when your efforts seem wasted, when obstacles loom larger than your determination. These are the moments that define your character, the moments when showing up matters most. Each day you choose to act with purpose, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. You reinforce a mental and emotional muscle that strengthens with time. You are building endurance, resilience, and capacity for impact. Intentionality at its core is about clarity. It is about knowing what matters most, understanding your goals, and aligning your actions to support them. When your days are intentional, you are no longer operating on autopilot. You are no longer reacting to circumstances or being pulled in directions that do not serve your purpose. Every decision becomes meaningful. Every effort becomes an investment in the life you are creating. And when you combine this intentionality with consistency, you create a rhythm, a momentum, and a trajectory that propels you forward, even when the path seems unclear or the world is chaotic. One of the most powerful aspects of consistency is that it trains your mind to believe in your own capability. There is a confidence that grows not from temporary motivation, but from repeated proof that you can show up for yourself again and again, even in the face of challenges. Each time you honor your commitments, even the small ones, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, reliable, and resilient. This belief becomes the foundation upon which larger goals can be built. Without it, even the clearest vision can falter, because doubt and hesitation will fill the space left by inconsistency. Consistency and intentionality also protect you against the temptation of shortcuts. Life will always present options that seem faster, easier, or more appealing in the moment. But these shortcuts often come at the expense of long-term growth. When you are disciplined, consistent, and intentional, you begin to recognize that lasting progress is rarely instantaneous. You understand that true results require a steady, deliberate effort, and you learn to resist the distractions and temptations that could derail your path. This is what separates those who achieve sustained success from those who achieve fleeting victories. Another dimension of consistency is accountability to yourself. When you commit to showing up with intention each day, you are not just honoring your goals, you are honoring the promises you make to yourself. This internal accountability fosters self respect, self discipline, and a level of integrity that carries over into every area of life. When you repeatedly demonstrate to yourself that you are capable of commitment and follow through, you build an unshakable foundation for trust in your own abilities. The voice inside that says, I can't, begins to be drowned out by the evidence that says, I did, I will, and I can again. Consistency does not require grand gestures. In fact, it is most effective in the accumulation of small, deliberate actions. Waking up with purpose, dedicating time to your craft, making intentional choices, and showing up even when you do not feel like it, these are the actions that compound over time. They create momentum that grows quietly, often unnoticed, until the results become undeniable. This is why persistence is not about the visible, dramatic victories. It is about honoring the process, even in the mundane, everyday moments. Intentionality and consistency also shape your environment. When you live with purpose and act with discipline, you begin to attract circumstances, opportunities, and people that align with your vision. Conversely, inconsistency and aimlessness often attract chaos, distraction, and misalignment. Your habits, choices, and energy act as a magnet for the kind of life you experience. When you are deliberate and steady, you create a life that supports growth, achievement, and fulfillment. When you are scattered or reactive, you create a life filled with unnecessary struggle and compromise. There is a spiritual aspect to this practice as well. Showing up consistently and intentionally is an act of stewardship over the gifts, opportunities, and potential you have been given. It is a recognition that your time, energy, and resources are finite, and that how you use them matters. Each day you act with purpose, you honor the life you have been entrusted with. You demonstrate gratitude not only for what you have, but for what you have yet to create. You align yourself with a principle greater than convenience or comfort, and you invest in the legacy of your own life. It is also important to understand that life will test your consistency. There will be days when circumstances challenge your discipline, when distractions pull at you relentlessly, when the energy to continue feels depleted. These are the moments that define whether your intentionality is rooted in real commitment or fleeting desire. Consistency is proven not when things are easy, but when things are hard. The discipline to act even when motivation is low, to persist even when the outcome is uncertain, and to remain steadfast when the world seems chaotic is the very definition of momentum. The cumulative effect of consistent, intentional action cannot be overstated. Each day builds upon the last. Each small decision reinforces habits, strengthens character, and shapes identity. Over time, these moments compound, creating a life that is aligned with vision, purpose, and potential. Success is rarely instantaneous. It is often invisible until it becomes undeniable. This is why persistence, discipline, and intentionality are non-negotiable. They are the foundation upon which every extraordinary life is built. You have to internalize the truth that showing up consistently with intentionality is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. You will stumble. You will have setbacks. That is not failure. It is growth. The key is not never falling, but continuing to rise, to act, and to move forward with purpose, no matter how small the steps may seem. Each act of discipline reinforces your momentum, and each intentional choice brings you closer to the life you are capable of living. When you understand this, your perspective shifts. You begin to value process over instant results, patience over impatience, and deliberate action over frantic activity. You begin to operate from a place of strength rather than reaction, from clarity rather than confusion, and from purpose rather than distraction. You learn that the extraordinary is not built in moments of chance or luck, but in moments of consistent, intentional action, repeated day after day. As we bring all of this together, remember that your life is shaped not by chance, but by the choices you make each day, starting with how you begin your morning, how you guard your mind and spirit, and how you show up consistently with intention. The mornings you claim with purpose are the launch pads for everything you dream of achieving. The energy, focus, and clarity you cultivate before the world demands your attention become the foundation for resilience in the face of obstacles. The thoughts you protect and the words you speak over yourself determine how you navigate challenges, how you interact with others, and how you move through your life. And the consistency with which you act on your intentions compounds into momentum that carries you forward, even when the journey feels long, uncertain, or difficult. All of these principles work together in harmony. Owning your mornings without distraction allows you to step into your day fully aligned. Guarding your mind and spirit ensures that external chaos cannot steal your peace or derail your vision. And showing up consistently with intentionality transforms ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. When these three forces are combined, they create a life where you are no longer merely surviving, reacting, or drifting. You begin to live with purpose, conviction, and the confidence that you are moving steadily toward the life you were created to live. I want you to understand that this is not about perfection or never failing. It is about showing up. It is about commitment. It is about refusing to allow yesterday's regrets, today's distractions, or tomorrow's fears to dictate who you are or what you will achieve. It is about the quiet daily choices that, over time, define your destiny. Every morning is a chance to reset. Every thought is a chance to redirect. Every action is a chance to move closer to your goals. And the life you dream of is waiting for the day you decide to step fully into your power, to protect your focus, and to move forward with unstoppable consistency. So as you leave this moment and step into the next day, remember that greatness is not found in grand gestures, but in the faithful, intentional choices you make consistently. It is built in the quiet discipline of your mornings, the intentional guarding of your heart and mind, and the persistent dedication to your vision. You have everything you need to rise, to overcome, and to create the life that reflects the full measure of your potential. Your time is now, your power is within you, and your life is waiting for you to claim it. Rise and show up for yourself the way you were always meant to.